Okay, so here we're going to review factoring out the greatest common factor, also known as the GCF. Okay, right, greatest common factor. All right, so if you're given an expression and you want to factor out the greatest common factor, the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the numbers that we have and say, well, what's the biggest number that divides evenly into 9, 15, and 3? So that's going to be 3. So I'm going to bring a 3 out over here to the left. All right, then we're going to look at our variables. We have x to the third, x squared, and x. Okay, so what that means, x to the third means that we have 3 x's being multiplied together. X squared means that we have 2 x's being multiplied together. And here we just have a single x by itself. Now you want to pull out as many x's as you can, but you can't pull out, you have to pull the same amount from each term, and you can't pull out more than a term has. So since this term only has 1 x here, we're going to pull out just an x. I mean, basically, a shortcut is you just look at the exponents. Here we have 3, here we have 2, and technically there's a 1 on this. You just take out whichever one has the smallest exponent. So we're taking out x to the first. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open a parenthesis, and we're going to write within this parenthesis what we're left with after we pulled a 3x out of each one of these 3 terms. Okay, so this is how it works. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then x to the third divided by x, well, all you're really doing is if you started off with 3 x's and you took one of these x's and pulled it out here, right? Let's say this last x right here got pulled out here. Isn't that just leaving us with 2 x's being multiplied together, which we write as x squared? Okay, another thing you could do is you could just subtract the exponents. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so now let's look at our next term. We have a positive 15 divided by positive 3. So that's going to be positive 5. And then we had x squared, right? We had 2 x's being multiplied together, but we took one of those x's and pulled it out here. So doesn't that leave us with another x left to put in here next to the 5? Okay, again, if you want to subtract the exponents, 2 minus 1 is 1. So x to the first. Okay, now, if you look here, right, we had a 3x. But we pulled the whole thing out. Do we have to write something here? Yes, we do. If you start off with 3 terms, you have to be left with 3 terms in your parentheses. And let's think about it. Isn't negative 3 divided by positive 3 negative 1? And here we had an x, but we pulled it out, so we don't have any more x's to put here next to the 1. So this is how we factor out the greatest common factor.